Hello and welcome back to Emily Cat 176. I'm back. I've had a week off. I didn't feel the best, and my hearing went. Over a week, no hearing this side, less than 50% this side, just to round off the week of not being well. But it's good to be back. And what I am talking about today, of course, I was going to do that last week, is books, because I've actually read a book. Now, of course, I normally do audiobooks, but my audiobooks are connected to my phone. And of course, and my left hearing aid wasn't even working, so I couldn't listen to audiobooks. And I saw this in an op shop. Now, I have said before, I'm really undecided about J.D. Robb. I think she's definitely written too many, way too many. I mean, this one came out in 2012, and look at all the ones that she'd written before that. I think with J.D. Robb, though, the earlier ones are the better ones, and this is an earlier one. As I said, it came out in 2012. I mean, it sounds interesting. Her crimes do sound interesting. The scene that greets Lieutenant Eve Dallas and her team one terrible evening in New York is more shocking than any of them have ever witnessed. A usually comfortable downtown bar is strewn with bodies. Office workers who have been sliced, bludgeoned, or hacked with the nearest weapon available. It appears they all turned on each other in a desperate, blinding rage. It is good. It was a good crime. As I said, I think with J.D. Robb, though, she's sort of writing the same book. But this one came out in 2012. And see, it's Delusion in Death. Of course, her titles always have death in the title. But I enjoyed it. And I actually enjoyed reading a book. So I started another one. Jane Harper, The Dry. Some of you might know this. You might have seen the films. Eric Bana is the one that stars in the films. But there's something about this. This one, it says, it hasn't rained in Kiwara for 2 years. Tensions in the farming community become unbearable when 3 members of the Hadler family are discovered shot to death on their property. Everyone assumes Luke Hadler committed suicide after slaughtering his wife and 6-year-old son. I grew up in country Victoria. And she writes about, because the big dry, of course, is there's no rain, it's the drought. And here in Australia, we have droughts. And I can remember being up in the country and when I was growing up, and some of the droughts. Oh, the parched earth and and you wake up in the morning and you go out and there's this heat haze already. I when I read this, especially the when she's talking about the weather and whatever, yes, I can understand that. And it's interesting because I had a friend living up in Shepparton, which is way up north, and I went up, was it a few years ago, to go up, and I was on a really, really hot day. It was a really, really hot weekend, like we're nearly 40 degrees, And as soon as I walked out of the train station, I thought, yep, I know this place. Because I grew up in a much smaller town. but I know what an Australian town looks like in a dry summer. But this was her first book. This was the one that started it all. She's a very good writer. She's done 3 or 4, I think, with this character. Aaron Falk is her inspector, but he's federal police. So in Australia, we have the police, like it's Victorian police, New South Wales police. Then we have federal police, and they're different. I think the federal police, I think they might do terrorism or something like that. You know, the different things, the drugs cases, I think. So yeah, it's unusual that she's got a federal police investigator, but it's a very good book. It is a very good book. And I'm thinking, am I getting into the habit again of reading? I have to admit, when I finished my final appointment and all my hearing is back. Well, it's as back as good as it will be. But I put my hearing aids in. I did turn my audiobook on because I've got to read those Robert Galbraith books. I'd planned it to read them all before the new one comes out, and I'm missing a week. And I also wanted my hearing fixed because I'm going to a show this weekend. I don't want to be going to shows and not being able to hear. And as I said, I had a whole week where it was bad. As I said, nothing in this ear at all. I had to face everyone like this so I could hear from this ear. But anyway, it's good to be back. Thank you to all those that are looking at my website. A lot more people are looking at my website. And thank you to all the new subscribers. As I said, going forward, of course, yeah, books. It's books and poetry on Fridays. I'll tell you about the show I have seen on Monday. I've actually got 3 shows coming up. So I definitely need hearing for that, don't I? And then, of course, I'll let you know what's going on Wednesday. So, as I said, it's good to be back. Have a good rest of the week and weekend. And I'll be back on Monday. Bye.